Hey everyone, today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Ecovacs. This is the Deebot N30 Omni. I did receive this sample, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. Trust me, we have 70 robot vacuum cleaners. Another freebie isn't going to move the needle for us here. Hopefully the data and the video can speak for itself. Anyways, if you're interested in this vacuum or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's some of the key features right on the front of the box. Same with the side, they expand on that, as well as the back side right here. This has self-empty, mop lifting, mop washing, mop drying, hot air mop drying. We also have the Osmo mopping system. That's going to be your rotating mops. And we have edge cleaning with this too. Their True Edge adaptive edge mopping technology. Now let's go ahead, let's open this up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of our instruction manual, warranty info, and FCC statement. Next, you'll find one included side cleaning brush. We have the base plate for our station that will have to snap into place. And we have instructions right there for us. We have one included power cord, 90-degree on the end for those interested. We have the vacuum itself and the station. Let's look at those in more detail. Looking at the vacuum first, starting at the top, 3 control buttons. We have Ecovacs and Deebot's logo and branding throughout. That's the LiDAR navigation module. We have a pop-open cover right here with their customer service information if you have any questions or need some support. Next, we have our dustbin internally right there that we can remove, change the filter or clean or manually empty as needed. And then there's a look inside with it removed, and then that just snaps right back in place. Same with this cover, just line it up and snap it. Next, we'll look at the very front with our sensors and navigation. We have our navigational bumper, some venting. We have our dust outlet there for the self-empty, charging contacts and sensors on the back, some more venting there, and some sensors on the side. Now we'll flip it underneath. This is where the side cleaning brush is going to be installed, so that just snaps right in place. Omnidirectional wheel, cliff sensors, 2 spring-loaded drive wheels. Here's a look at our main brush roller right there. Kind of got that hybrid bristle and rubber agitator design. Then we have our 2 mop pads right there already installed, and it's just Velcro, so you can easily wash them, remove them, and replace them as needed. And then we have our edge cleaning kickout design right here on the 1 mop pad as shown. And for those wondering, both of the pucks pads, whatever, can be removed here, and there's a look at that swing out design in action. Pretty cool tech. Now on to the station. While we have it all taped together, let me just show you the different sides so you can get a feel for the profile on every side. Here's a look at the front. Here's a look at the other side. We'll tip it upside down so you can see underneath here. This is the back side and this is the front. Just get a feel for the profile of everything. Here's a look at the back side. We have a grip handle here. We have our power cord down there. Looks like some venting over here and some additional product info. Now with the tape removed, we can look at the dirty water tank and clean water tank. Check that out, guys, with both of them removed. We have this lock and unlock option here, and if we can pull that up, then we can see internally here where we can add some solution. So you have that option right there. How cool is that? Pretty sweet. And here's a look inside the clean water tank and the dirty water tank. Now we can look at the rest of the station again. So right here from this cover, we can open it up to reveal the installed vacuum bag for the self-empty, and that's just snap shut. In here we have our charging, emptying, and washing. We have another piece of tape to remove, and this tray comes out for easy cleaning and maintenance. That is huge. You definitely want a removable tray if you have any sort of mopping, refilling, and washing and all that. That's a clutch feature. And then this section right here is where we're going to basically snap that on and into place following the instructions on the ramp itself. Ensure that you hear a click. So put it on and press into place, and I did hear it snap right in. So there we go. That has now successfully been installed. Let's finish getting this set up. Now we have it plugged in. Everything's powered on. There's a switch on the back you may need to flip. We have the vacuum connected. Now let's let it charge up. Let's fill it up and try it out. With our first clean out of the way, let's take a look at the real world results right here. We'll start with the removable tray from our station. We have a little bit of hair clumped and built up right there. It's still damp with a little bit of water on the surface. Given enough time, that all should evaporate. But I wanted you to see to get a feel for what this tray looks like, and it's so easy now to take this out, rinse it off, let it dry out, and stick it right back in. Now for the vacuum, up at the top, we just have a little bit of hair on the cover there, just a little bit of debris from what's being agitated and stirred up while it's vacuuming. I intercepted this before the self-empty so we could actually see what the contents inside the dustbin look like. Look at that. It is jam-packed in there. So much stuff. This thing is caked full. Pet hair, human hair, crumbs, everything you'd expect around your house. That's what we're vacuuming out right here. So that's the dustbin. This will auto empty itself, but I wanted you to see realistically what you can expect. We got some Play-Doh, little piece of toy. I'm not really sure what that is for my kids. All the human hair, pet hair, dog hair, and then the larger crumbs. Everything you'd expect to find around a household. 3 children, my wife and I, and a dog with long hair. So that's just realistically what we have going on here. And here's a close-up of the filter. Slight discoloration and dust already gathering in it. Not bad. Here's a look inside with the dustbin removed. And here's a look at the underside with our 2 mop pads here. They look great, as good as new. A little bit damp still, but I interrupted the drying cycle. Main brush roller, not bad at all. I'm actually surprised we don't have any tangles collecting right here in the center. Just a couple longer pieces of hair off to the side that we can easily pull out. And then we do have some hair tangles on the side cleaning brush. Also very easy to pull away or cut away as needed. But the mop pads are clean. They look nice. No noticeable tangles here, which is great. About what you'd expect, and I'd say overachieving with that main brush roller here. And then looking at it from the sides, just your typical dust that's starting to accumulate, just like we noticed and observed a little bit at the top. So every once in a while, just make sure you're wiping all of those sensors down to keep everything up and running. Let's take a quick look at the Ecovacs app to get an overview for the settings and controls that we have. Here's what the Deebot N30 Omni looks like set up, where we can select the big blue button, Robot Controls. That'll take us to the main settings that we can change and configure. Here's a look at our map. Previous clean on there, we did a little zone clean. Down at the bottom, we have 2 tabs. The first one is going to be for the Deebot itself. The second one's for the station. So looking at the Deebot one, we can start an auto clean. We can choose 4 different cleaning modes, 4 different suction power settings, 3 water flow rate options, 3 cleaning speed options, and we have 1 or 2 cleaning passes for a more thorough clean. Looking at the station, we can choose to empty the dustbin, wash the mop, or dry the mop. We can also activate Solid Floor Cleaner if you have some of those modules to install with your system. From both of these tabs, we can also go to the Robot Advanced settings that we'll look at just here in a second. Then you'll notice to the right of the map, we have our zone option. This is how we can clean in different zones. You can add up to 5 zones at one time to clean. We can also choose different rooms to clean. 3 areas selected. Pick and choose your settings. You're all set and ready to go. We also have our map options here where we can rename rooms. We can add virtual walls and barriers here. So we can add no-go zones and no mop zones. Everything's drag and drop just to reposition on your map. We can also redivide or combine rooms depending on how your map's populated and if you're happy with how it perceives your environment. And then now, top right-hand corner, we have the settings where we can view our cleaning history, maintenance options there. We have our Robot Advanced settings. You'll want to spend a minute in here configuring things like the schedule, cleaning scenarios, cleaning sequence, auto resume, do not disturb, suction boost on carpet. How do you want it to handle lifting the mop pads, if you even want it to? True edge, adaptive edge mopping. You can toggle that on or off. I always leave it on. Extreme mode or standard mode. Obstacle avoidance, child lock. You can learn more about your vacuum. And then we have our station advanced settings here. So you can adjust the dustbin frequency for emptying, mop washing, 6, 10, 15 minutes or after every room, hot air drying duration, 2, 3, or 4 hours. You can turn the station light on or off. You get the idea. We can also clean the station down below. Further down, we have things like your language and volume settings, map display settings. This is where we can basically change the layout, the name, the carpet, or the sequence, if you want those things displayed or not. Help section, then we can also share our vacuum with friends or family, as well as, last but not least, deleting the Deebot from our account. So it's a very simple, intuitive app with a lot of customization. Now it's time to see how our Deebot N30 Omni stacks up against the competition. We'll be comparing it to over 70 different models that we have personally tested. So first up, we have max suction power. This is a good leading indicator. It's not the end-all be-all, but we like to see this value be on the higher side to hopefully get a better and more efficient clean in the real world. So pretty impressive that we have 10,000 pascals of suction power. That's nearly double the average robot vac. And we see that theme continuing on with max CFM. We measure this value in-house. Usually the higher, the better here. 10.8 is a fantastic CFM value compared to the average of 6.8. And as expected, with those great results, we actually saw great cleaning in the real world. We got a 90 out of 100 in our carpet deep cleaning test. That's 3 points above the average. And in regards to decibels, this is how loud the vacuum is. The higher the value, the louder it will be. So in our case, with that 10,000 pascals of suction, we peak at 77 decibels. So that's 6 decibels above the average. But for doubling the suction power, we didn't double the volume. So anyways, this is going to be well within what you'd expect. I really don't have any reservations. You would be hard-pressed to probably be able to tell, realistically to some extent, how much louder this actually is if it's vacuuming in a room with a 71 decibel vacuum. So you will hear this vacuum when it's vacuuming just like you would the average robot vac, but it's not too loud or unbearable or anything like that. Next, we have battery life. This is measured in minutes. We have 320 minutes of runtime with this vacuum. Now, that's not going to be on max suction settings or anything close to that, but pretty impressive that we're double the average. And one reason why we see that really long and extended runtime is due to the large battery capacity that we have. 5,200 milliamp hours is the battery capacity, whereas your typical average vac only comes in at 3,900 milliamp hours. And all of those milliamp hours make a difference, that's for sure. In regards to height, this is measured in inches, very standard height for a LiDAR equipped robot vacuum, 4.1 inches. Why height matters is because if you have a shorter RoboVac, that might just be enough of a difference to get under an extra piece of furniture around your house. Our average skews lower because we cover a lot of models that don't have LiDAR, so they're a little bit shorter. In regards to bin capacity, this is measured in milliliters, and we're talking about the internal dustbin here. 450 milliliters for that dustbin. It's a very large dustbin for a self-emptying model. Typically you see smaller dustbins in that like 200 to 300 milliliter range since it can self-empty. But in this case, we get the best of both worlds, a larger internal dustbin, and we still have self-emptying capabilities. Next, in regards to our internal water tank capacity, this is a big old because it doesn't have an internal water tank. It just comes back to the station to wash, wet, and clean, and go back out and continue mopping. While we're talking about cleaning and washing and mopping and all that good stuff, this unit does not come equipped with hot water mop washing. It will wash, clean, and dry the mop pads, but it won't be using hot water. The good news though is it does support mop lifting. This is able to lift the mop pads up and out of the way. It has a 9mm lift. That's 1mm below the average, but I'd say on par with what we're seeing out there today. Couple honorable mentions here. First up is side brush lifting. This is not a feature found on this model, but some models out there, typically they're going to be the higher flagship models. They have the ability to lift up their side brush, so it's not going to make contact with any wet messes or spills on your floor. And along a similar vein there, it doesn't have the ability to extend out or do any side reaching with that brush either. I really wish it had that ability, but again, typically found on higher end flagship models. The good news though is they gave us the better feature. I'd much rather have mop extend than side brush reach, but at the end of the day, I still want both, right? Anyways, so This does have Mop Extend, which is great. It can kick that mop pad out and give you better coverage along baseboards, under furniture and hard to reach areas, even corners. So it's great that they have that built into this for a better mopping experience. Next up is mop pad removal. This is a feature absent from this model. I have high expectations, what can I say? But anyways, we have mop lift, which is great. But for those of you out there that are carpet and rug snobs and you don't want to risk any contact with the mop pads coming across your floors, well, some models out there, again, they're more expensive, have the ability to leave their mop pads behind at the station when they go out and vacuum your carpets. Then they come back, they put on the mop pads and go out and mop your hard floors. It's a pretty cool feature. Maybe we'll see that trickle down to this model in the future. And last but not least, I'm sure you're wondering about cost. Maybe you've kind of kept a little tally at the back of your mind going, hey, this thing has a lot of features. This is going to cost a lot of money. Well, in this case, good news for you. This is just about right at the average of your typical robot vacuum and mop, but I would argue it offers above average features. So the value is definitely there. So let's get right to it. Let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know. So overall, count me impressed. The value is there for a vacuum that mops, washes, cleans, dries itself, empties itself. It gives us a good main brush roller that really didn't attract a lot of tangles. I was pleasantly surprised. That's not usually my experience. So they continue to refine that, and it's great to see that those improvements are working and making difference in real households. I got 3 long-haired individuals and a long-haired dog. So anyways, that's great to see. And they gave us super strong suction power too. Typically for this product, you'd see them make some compromises there, but they didn't. The biggest compromise would be not having hot water mop washing. That definitely feels like a miss. And if they had that, I'd feel like this would be an incredible deal versus just a good value. While we're critiquing it, there's a couple more things I want to mention. The first one is the obstacle avoidance. I had higher hope and expectations for this. It's just not very good, or I should say for smaller objects, think cords, think pet waste. For larger objects like, 5 or 6 inches, the pop can, the dog bone, it's going to do better. But again, it's not great. I wouldn't put my full faith in that. You'll still want to tidy up your house and keep everything nice and clean before you run this vacuum. And I also observed, for whatever reason, maybe it's just user error, maybe it's an upcoming firmware update, I don't really know. But for this particular vacuum, if you want to do multi-level mapping, it prompts you to move the station. Well, I don't want to move the station. Now, I know with the mopping, washing, cleaning, all that, it makes sense to move the station, but I'd still like to have the option to move it to the basement or another floor and just hit the carpets or things like that and not have to worry about the mop. So it's strange that we can't really make a map on those other floors. Now, you could just run it up there, that's fine, so that's kind of your workaround, but I'd like to have multiple maps without moving the station. Anyways, kind of goofy. Again, there are some workarounds, but just some things that could maybe use some fine tuning. The good news is a lot of the stuff I've mentioned could be implemented with software changes, but again, that's not the state that it's currently at. Maybe in the future we get lucky with more firmware, things like that. In regards to the obstacle avoidance, I'm not sure if they have enough hardware on here to refine that enough, but I'm guessing they could probably make it even better. And I just thought of another one, not having live video monitoring. If it had a camera, it would have better obstacle avoidance. I know that, but it would also give us the ability to use it as a home security device. But overall, the value is definitely there. It's great to see those flagship features continuing to trickle down in vacuums like this. Once you use a vacuum and mop that's able to wash, clean, and dry itself, then you'll want them to continue to offer more features and more features, because it's super nice to have more and more automation in your life that's removing you further and further from the chore of cleaning your floors.